So we've got our while loops running. Now, during your progression within Python, there's going to come points within your code where you got a loop going, but you're going to want to break out of the loop prematurely. And what I mean by that is you're going to want to break out of the loop before your condition becomes no longer relevant. It no longer forces the loop to happen. In this example, maybe I want to continue looping while the condition is true, but if something happens that I want to catch, then I want it to break, and I don't want it to loop anymore. So it could stop it when I equals 6 for whatever reason. We get to define what that reason is, but we can break the loop or we can break out of the loop. You do this by utilizing a keyword called break. Take a look. So I've got the same little example that we were just running with our simple loop. I'm going to jump into here, and just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to bring in the break keyword. There it is. Now we know from the previous lecture that without the break keyword, this thing would loop and it would output, or it would print out the value I, which is being incremented, right, every time it loops, and it would run 10 times. Well, this time, by placing the break in there, just plain old break, it's going to run once and then break. It's going to break out of the loop. Take a look. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to go ahead and run it, and it's going to be quick. There it is. And I get my 1. All right, quick and easy. It ran once, and then we told it to break, and it's done. It broke out of the loop. Now, more than likely, you're not going to do that. I mean, why only run the loop once? Okay? Perhaps you will, but not necessarily in this method. So let's advance this a little bit more. I only want it to break if a specific condition is true. Now I'm going to mess up the code here for a moment, but then we're going to come back and we're going to run a loop, but then have the conditional break in there. Earlier, we talked about importing modules. I'm going to introduce you to another one here. I'm going to import the random module. Now the random module will allow us to generate random numbers. In our case right here, I want to generate random integers. So let's see, I got my import random. Inside, I'm going to keep the I equals 1 because we're going to still use that inside the loop. But down inside the loop, I am going to bring in random, and I am going to use a specific function from the random module. You can see that there's a whole lot of them inside there. But one specifically that I want here is randint. Randint. Remember the help method? You can use the help to get help on this one. But if I open up the parentheses, it wants 2 values from us, 2 arguments, essentially numbers. I want to generate a random integer, a random number, between A and B. So I'm going to say something like 0 and 20. All right, random module, generate a random integer between that range. All right, let's put this into a variable. I'll call it new rand, and we'll make that equal to whatever random int returns to us, some random number between 0 and 20. All right, I am also going to print that out. We'll say print new rand. That looks good. All right, and I don't want to break right away. What I want to do is I want this thing to run while I is less than equal to, let's pump this up a little bit. Let's say 20. Every time it runs, it's going to increase 1 or I by 1. So potentially up to 20 times. But I want to break if new rand returns 6. So we'll say if new rand is equal to 6, then we'll break. And remember your white space. You got your if, what your condition is, and in there we'll break it out. But I'm also going to print out, just so we can get an alert here, that it did break successfully. We'll print out the word break. All right, so I've imported the random function, or excuse me, random method module, and maybe I'll give it a comment here. I'll say import random module, not a random module, but the random module. I've got my incrementing value of I starting out as 1, And then I'm going to loop while I is less than greater than 20, or excuse me, less than equal to 20. We're going to assign new rand variable here, a random integer that the random.randint method or function creates for us. We'll print that out so we can see it, but we're going to break early if new rand, this guy right here, is equal to 6. All right, and we're continually incrementing I. That way we don't get stuck in an endless loop. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Watch my screen here. I'm going to go ahead and run it, F5. There we go. 16, new rand, generated a random number between 0 and 20, 16, 12, 17, 10, 18, 6. 6. Ooh, we printed that out, right? And we broke out of the loop. Utilizing our keyword break, printed it out, and stopped the loop prematurely. This is all using the break keyword. There's going to come times when you need this. Something happens. Maybe there's an error in the system. You want to catch that error. We'll talk about error handling later on and exceptions, how to handle those gracefully. But something happens in the system. You want to break out. You want something else to happen. Continue on. Forget the loop at this point. We found what we're looking for. Let's stop. So this is your break keyword. Try it out. Bring in the loop. You could try out the random module in there. I think it's a good example and kind of get your hands dirty with it. Or if you think of something else, think of your logic. What's going to cause your loop to stop or break prematurely?